Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be building part of an old mausoleum facade. First off, we need to cut down our 1-inch foam to brick size and split the pieces in half. This can be done using a Hotwire table, a razor blade, or a serrated knife. With all your bricks cut, grab a 1/4-inch piece of underlayment and plan out the design of your facade. Sketch out the location of your bricks, cut them down to match your design, and secure them to your board with glue. You could also give them some shape by softening the edges before or after you glue them in place. Now that they're dry, we're going to take a spray bottle filled with water and spray the bricks. You're looking for as many droplets as possible since these will help to create the look of aging in the next step. Next up, you'll need a torch. You're going to move the flame over the top of your wet bricks to create the look of aging and pitting. You can go as heavy or as light as you want, but you'll want to practice this step to get the feel of it before moving on to your final piece. Always remember to keep the torch moving, and do this step in a well-ventilated area. I'm adding a few extra pieces of foam to use as a gluing surface for the slab portion of the facade. Once they're secure, you can add 1-inch foam pieces around the outside edge to frame up the slab. With the frame attached, you can take measurements for your slab. Mark off the edges where you'll need to trim, and while holding it in place, trace the broken edges to align with your bricks before trimming off the excess with a razor blade. You could also use this as an opportunity to add some character to your slab with a small rasp. Check the fit, glue the slab in place, and allow it to dry. Now we're ready to add some cracks. Using a razor blade, you're going to make 2 cuts that form a V to replicate the look of a crack. These cuts can be as wide or as thin as you like and should align with the broken edge of your slab. I like to use the tip of the blade to pick out bits of foam and break up the smooth lines created by the razor. You can add variety to these cracks by digging into the foam, creating high and low spots so that there's crevices for the paint to sit in during the painting process. To create more interest on the piece, you can cut and break away sections of the border before moving to the spray bottle and torch aging process. Let's get started on paint. I like to use outdoor driveway sealer DryLok because of its gritty texture. It's a great way to replicate the look of stone. You could also use exterior latex paint mixed with sifted playground sand. DryLok is very thick, and you can create additional texture by adding extra paint and blotting it with your brush. Now that the entire piece is covered, let's grab a light and dark brick-colored paint and start to fill in our bricks. You don't have to be perfect with this step, as we'll do a bit of cleanup further along in the build. Once the base color is down, grab a dark brown color and pounce that color onto the brick. You're looking to break up the brick color and create a random appearance. Once you're done with the brown, repeat this step with a beige. You can mix some of the previously used colors to make a more subtle highlight. After allowing the paint to dry, we're going to fill in our grout lines and dry brush the brick using a light gray. The level of dry brushing is completely up to you. You'll want to try and keep the application random so that they don't look so uniform in the finished piece. The next step is to take some black spray paint. You're going to darken in the areas where the slab meets the brick. This step is to help blend away the underside of the slab and create the appearance of a shadow. Now comes the fun part, aging. We're going to really grunge this piece up, first by spraying down the entire surface with water, and then applying some black paint and allowing it to run down the face of the facade. Be sure to smudge paint into all of the cracks you created. You can also dab paint around in the corners to help darken up the spaces where dust and dirt would accumulate over time. You can alternate between black, dark brown, and a mossy green to give even more variation. If you've gone too heavy in one place, you can use the spray bottle to water down the paint and try again. This step is really forgiving, and how light or heavy you go is completely up to you. To help add a more organic look, you're going to thin a small amount of black paint in water and flick it onto the surface of your facade. Alternate between black and white to create a more natural stone appearance. Continue this process until you're happy with the look. Once the paint is dried, we're going to take a moss color and blend it into the areas where the slab meets the brick, as well as a few of the brick faces, to create some color variation and the look of moss. This will help with the next step, adding in fake ivy. I found some fake ivy at my local thrift shop for under $1 and have clipped off a few pieces to fill in around the slab and give the look of growth from the inside out. Using a bit of hot glue, I'm going to attach the long piece of ivy along the longest edge of the slab. I'm also going to hide the plastic end of the ivy with an extra leaf that fell off of the longer piece. Repeat this step around the slab until you're happy with how it looks. The last step in this build is to dry brush just a bit more grunge. You may not need this step, but I wanted to add just a bit more variation in the corners and to mute the brightness of some of the bricks. That's going to be it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and hit the notification bell to be alerted to the next time I put out a video. Until next time, happy haunting!